Hello everyone, I'm Kunjan Khatri and with me is my partner Kathan Patel. Our project is coloring black and white images. We were recently watching a classic and historic Bollywood movie which was originally in black and white, now colorized. This made us eager to try something like this using deep learning. So we decided to start with coloring black and white images. Today, colorization is done by hand in Photoshop and the picture can take up to a month to colorize. Also, it requires an extensive research. A face alone needs up to 20 layers of pink, green, and blue shades to get it just right. So we thought of trying this using neural networks. Our first attempt was to train a model and input image and test it on the same image. And the second and the final version was to try using the Inception Resonant V2, a network trained on 1.2 million images. Let's see how our two models ran. Before we start, I would like to give some background and the methodology about the color schemas. Black and white images can be represented in grids of pixels. Each pixel has a value that corresponds to its brightness. The values span from 0 to 255 from black to white. Color images consists of three layers, a red layer, a green layer, and a blue. This might be counterintuitive to you. Imagine splitting a green leaf on a white background into three channels. Intuitively, you might think that the plant is only present in the green layer. As you see below, the leaf is present in all three channels. The layer not only determines the color, but also the brightness. To achieve the color white, for example, you need an equal distribution of all colors by adding an equal amount of red and blue. It makes the green brighter. Thus, a color image encodes the color and contrast using three layers. Just like black and white images, each layer in a color image has value from 0 to 255. The value 0 means that it has no color in this layer. If the value is 0 for all color channels, then the image pixel is black. As you may know, a neural network creates a relationship between an input value and an output value. To be more precise with our colorization task, the network needs to find the traits that link grayscale images with colored ones. In sum, we are searching for the features that link a grid of grayscale values to the three colors. Starting with our version 1, let's start with a code. So as you can see, we load in an image and the image is converted into an array representing a three-dimensional version. So first, our step is to convert the RGB into a lab space. A lab space has two main layers, one consisting of black and white and the other two color layers, one of green and yellow, another one of blue and red. As you can see, we extract the first black and white grayscale image using the 0th index and the other two using the 1. In lab space, the color schemas are between -128 to 128. So we scale them and divide our input by 128. We build a simple sequential model using some upsampling and stridings so that no image portion has been lost due to the conversion. As you can see, our last activation function is 10 hyperbolic, which gives output between -1 and 1, making our input errors matching to the one which we had, that were -128 to 128 divided by 128, giving us the range between -1 and 1. We trained the model and fit for 1000 epochs using batch size of 1, as we had only one image. The loss goes very fluctuating as it tries to learn every aspect of the layer. For the output image also, we do the same thing. First, we extract the 0th index, that is the black and white layer, and we add the other two layers for the color. As you can see, the grayscale image is here, and by converting it into unit 8, which does not let any loss of conversion, gives us a perfect image. If we try the same thing on a different image which has not been trained, it won't give us the same results or the same colors. So for that, we tried our second version, that is the final version.
Hi, this is covering the final version of our project. In final version, we combine our neural network with classifier. We are using an Inception Resonant V2 that has been trained on 1.2 million images. To make the coloring pop, we'll train our neural network on portraits or from on Splash. Final version has four components. We split the network we had before into an encoder and decoder. Between them, we are using a fusion layer. In parallel to the encoder, the input image also runs through one of the most powerful classifiers, instruction ResNet bit. We extract the classification layer and merge it to the output from the encoder. In below image, you can see the input and output of the encoder and decoder. By transferring the learning from the classifier to the coloring network, the network can get the sense of what is in the picture, thus enabling the network to match an object representation with the coloring scheme. Going to the implementation. To run this version, we need TensorFlow 1.11, Keras 2.2.4. Keras functional API is ideal when we are concatenating or merging several models. First, we download Inception ResNet V2 neural network and load the weights. Since we will be using two models in parallel, we need to specify which model we are using. This is done in TensorFlow and backend for Keras. To create our batch, we use the quick image, we turn them black and white, and run it through the Inception ResNet model. First, we have to resize the image to fit into the Inception model. Then we use the preprocessor to format pixels and color values according to the model. In the final step, we run it through the Inception network and extract the final layer of the model. Going back to the generator, for each batch, we generate 20 images in the below format. It takes about an hour on Tesla K80 GPU. We can do up to 50 images at a time with this model without having memory problem. This matches with our ColorNet model format. Encoder input is fed into encoder model. Output of the encoder model is then fused with the embedded input in the fusion layer. The output of the fusion is then used as the input in our decoder model, which then returns the final output decoder output. In fusion layer, first we multiply 1000 category layer by 1024. This way we get 1024 rows with the final layer from the inception model. It is then reshaped from 2D to 3D or 32 by 32 grid with a 1000 category pillar. These are then linked together with the output from the encoder model. We apply 254 filter convolution network with 1 cross 1 kernel, final output of the fusion layer. We ran our model for 100 epochs and got this output. In this slide, you can see the input of the model and the output of the model. The output of the model is more red because the model had overtrained on the red color. For future work, we can implement it with another pre-trained model or train with different data sets. We can also enable the network to grow the accuracy with more pictures. You can also apply it to video and large images. Thank you.
Thank you.